All right, listen, while other people are having brunch and getting day drunk off mimosas on a Sunday, we're in here learning awesome guitar stuff. So today we're going to do a bunch of cool stuff in the key of D that I think is an interesting way to use an opportunity to look at chords differently and how they sit in a scale. So, a lot of people probably start off playing D major like this, but everything we're going to be doing is based around what I call the people's D, using the C/G shape 2 frets higher. And we're going to go through the main chords in this key, but we're going to do it in maybe like a slightly different way. So the chords are going to sound something like this. So they're all kind of interesting chords, but they're really based around the main chords in the key of D. And I think it all starts with talking about where the root notes of all these are and just the notes in this key, all right? So maybe if you've ever done like chord shapes before, you'd be like, all right, so the notes in the key of D look like this. We have like a D, an E, an F sharp, a G, an A, a B, a C sharp, and a D, right? That kind of major scale shape. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this a little bit, I don't want to say it's out of order, but it's going to look like this. We're going to go D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. Okay, so we're going to start in the meat and potatoes of the neck, right around the 5th fret of the A string. We're going to go D, E, F sharp, so 5A, 7A, 4D, and then we're going to jump down to that low G, 3rd fret on the E string, and then go G, A, B, C sharp 4th fret on the A string, 5. So 5A, 7A, 4D, 3E, 5E, 7E, 4A, home to D, okay? And then again, that really cool D. Again, so I'm going to refer to the names of these chords as their root notes and then just either being major or minor. I know that we do technically have different names for these chords, specifically this chord right here, right? It's a D major chord, and again, I've just got my ring finger and my pinky on the 5th fret on the E and the A string, my middle finger on the 4th fret of the D string, open G, 3rd fret on the B string, and open E. So it's a D major with an added G and an E. So we can talk about the names of those, the extended chord names of these in a different video, but I think it's just really important just kind of be like, all right, instead of playing D, A, G in note position, I got the option to go D in a different position, right? So that's what this whole lesson's about. So we're starting right here, and then I want to go right to the 2 chord in this key, which is usually an E minor, okay? But we're going to play it right here as an E minor 9 because we're going to get into this new position where these other chords exist, all right? So follow me as we go to the land of E minor 9, okay? So there's our root note. There's that second note in the scale. The 2 chord is going to be E minor, but I'm playing the E with my middle finger on the A string. My pointer finger is grabbing what's the minor 3rd, the D string 5th fret, and then my ring finger and pinky have the 7th fret of the G and B strings. Okay, so D, E minor, D major, E minor, instead of D, E minor. So I'm not saying that one way is better than another way. I'm just saying these are cool different options to have. Sound great on this Breedlove Organic Pro Series guitar that Sweetwater sent over. So again, this video is sponsored by Sweetwater. No matter what you get, do it through my affiliate link because it really helps me out. Because let's be real, it's not that I don't want to go have brunch. It's that I can't afford brunch these days. So I get a small percentage of the sale every time you use anything through that Sweetwater link. So thank you to Sweetwater and Breedlove for sending over this guitar to rock out with. There's that 1 chord, the 2 chord. Now, my favorite move in almost any key, because again, if we take away the open G and E strings here, these are movable shapes, right? Especially this one right here. What I mean by movable is I'm just hitting the middle 4 strings. So this would be E minor 9, F minor 9, F sharp minor 9, G minor 9, so on and so forth. But one of my favorite moves in any key is going from the 2 to the 6 chord, just like this. Okay? So we've got that E minor 9 here, and then I'm going to move my middle finger up a string. Actually, I'm going to move everything up a string except for my pointer finger moving down to the B string, same fret. So now I get a B minor 11. Minor 11, if you've watched any of my videos, you know minor 11 is my go-to replacement for any minor chord. So now I've got 7E, skip the A string, 7D and G, and then 5B. 2, 6, E minor, B minor, E minor, B minor. So what's cool is like you can actually just use these in conjunction with each other. Then go to G. And like it always sounds great. So again, I want to stress that there's still a time and a place for triads, a 3-note chord, as compared to the extended chords that we're playing, which usually we're getting 4 different notes. But it's just having a variety, and I think when you start incorporating more variety of different types of chords, you'll find that your playing gets a lot better, and your lead playing too, because you're starting to look at different places like, oh, an E minor 9 chord. I didn't even know that these were available to me. You know, I can kind of slide into whatever, and then if I'm, you know, in B minor pentatonic, you know, there's just a lot of cool stuff that you could do just by thinking differently and then just having supplemental chords rather than replacing stuff, right? So we've got our 1 chord, our 2 chord, our 6 chord, our 5 chord. Love it, right? This is A major, and I'm focusing just on the middle 4 strings here, using what people might remember as a F major shape, just all the way down here. Again, 7A, 7D, ring and pinky, 6G with my middle finger, pointer finger 5B, and then the beautiful thing about this is the 5 chord, A major, just back it 2 frets behind, and then you're in the 4 chord. And then, if you look at my hand, I can really easily get to the 1 chord. It doesn't even look like I did anything, right? Just like how these brunch waiters and waitresses don't even do anything. You order off the QR code and you're still expected to tip 20%. Come on, get out of here. Barely doing anything. Just kidding. I used to be a server, so I don't really believe it. Well, I guess I kind of believe it now. But anyway, all right, so G to D instead of G to D. G, A, B minor, D. G, A, B minor, D, G, A, B minor, D. See, it sounds so much more colorful and rich just by incorporating those and kind of bouncing back and forth between the traditional open chord triads and some of these cool newer shapes that maybe you haven't seen before. All right, so what about the F sharp minor? What about the 3 chord, Sean? What's going on there? So what I like to do is incorporate open strings in any key that I know I'm in, right? So in the key of D major, B and E are notes that are in this key. So sometimes I'll like to leave the top 2 strings open. In fact, you can do these on any of the shapes that we've already learned, leaving both the top 2 strings open, right? Like for the D chord, just open up your pointer finger and add a B to it. Even with that E minor, we could maybe make it like an E minor 7 shape. But for the F sharp minor, let's kind of continue where we were with this G major shape, and then move it back. So this would be G or F sharp major, just using the middle. But let's take this middle finger, move that to your pointer finger, so that's the 2nd fret of the G string, and then keep that B and E in there. I feel like this is a Coldplay song. I don't know. Great chord though. Whatever we call this chord, I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of like based around F sharp minor, and it works as the 3 chord. 1 in D, 2 an E minor class chord, 3 F sharp minor class, 4 is G major, 5 A, B minor, 7. Be remiss to not talk about the 7 chord in this key, C sharp minor, 7 flat 5. Even though we don't use it a whole lot, I use it a whole lot. Really easy to play. Again, pointer finger 4A, ring finger 5D, middle finger 4G, pinky 5B. And then going from here to here, 7 to 1. Okay? If you don't know what I mean by when I'm using the numbers, it's just the scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Check out my Patreon for more in-depth information on that, because I go through like your first 100 guitar lessons in sequential order, because it's harder to kind of do on YouTube. You're almost kind of just jumping in at a skill level that hopefully is right for you. But again, if this isn't right, check out the Patreon, because it's super cheap and I go through everything. So these are all the chords that we're going to use, and then we can just start making up chord progressions. One thing that I personally like to do is using chord progressions that don't have the 1 in it. Right, so let's start with that 2 to 6, which we started with earlier, that E minor to 6, B minor, E minor 9 to B minor 11. Let's go to the F sharp, the 2 chord, or the 3 chord, to the 4 chord, then back to wherever you want. You can go back to the... And it's just a great way to make chord progressions that you know are going to sound good and might sound a little more interesting than you're used to if you've just been using the D major, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C half diminished, D. Now, last thing I want to talk about is this wouldn't be a video with me if I didn't turn one of these chords into a major 7 chord. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the 4 chord into a major 7 chord, which is where it naturally would go anyway. And let's use this cool, this tried and true staircase G major 7 with a really easy variation. So G, D, E, F sharp, G is the 4 chord. Any time you use the 4 chord in a key, you can use it as a major 7 chord. I would say my go-to major 7 chord is this right here, where we've got that G on the E string, skip the A string, 4, D and G, 3 on the B string. That's probably my favorite. 1 to 4. 1 to 4 always sounds good in anything, right? But let's do the 4 chord as this. Really great just exercise to do because we're staircasing the whole thing. Let's start on the top, F sharp on the highest string, so 2E, pointer finger, and then we're just gonna go pointer, middle, ring, pinky. Just in a staircase like that. Looks like this claw, right? It's just an impressive looking chord, right? And that kind of lines your hand up pretty close to that shape that we started at the beginning. The D, the people's D, as we call it. All you have to do is move your pointer finger down a string and then build that staircase. Or open it up. The most slept on chord in history is G major 7, where you just hold down the 2nd fret of the high E string. Because you get all that warmth and body of these open strings, and especially on this, I really do love this guitar. This guitar is awesome. I'll link you in the description to the unboxing I did with this and playing it and stuff. Love the Breedlove Organic Pro Series, and it's the day after Earth Day, so it's fun. To B minor 11. How good is that? G major 7 to B minor 11. To E minor 9, A, D. E minor 9, A, B. again, this is all just jamming around, randomly taking those 7 different chords that we learned in this key. So thank you to Breedlove. Thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring the video. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, or the Patreon. I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.